I thought Me with ASAP Ferg was dope. I don't know why. I just pictured like Michael Myers with a chain on for some reason with the piano. But yeah, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that. Ferg is always good for a feature. I think he's like one of the more charismatic rappers, so he's always really a lot of fun.
Let me put you on game.
But moving into our last topic, we've got Meek Mill and his new album, Expensive Pain. Meek Mill, who has had a surprisingly makes me feel old, decade-long career in rap music, initially with Maybach Music Group, and he's a very controversial MC out of Philadelphia. He's had a great many different projects, a great many different public moments, but Meek Mill for sure is always interesting, in and outside of the booth. But he's got a new album called Expensive Pain, and we're going to review it. So, what are your thoughts on the new offering from our guy Meek Mill?
My man, full name Meekus Millis. Many people don't know that. In his follow-up from Championships that had commercial and critical success, I think Meek came into this project looking to be more experimental, to try out more new things and really expand his abilities, which I commend. Because he already has excellent penmanship as a rapper. He has one of the greatest intro songs of all time that everybody quotes, hold up, wait a minute, y'all thought I was finished. You know what I mean? Like every time that goes on in the club, people start rapping that in the club, which shows you how powerful of a song it is. And I think that he was trying to take those abilities and mix it in with the whole popular melodic rap style movement that's going on right now. And I kind of understand where he was coming from, but the blending of those two kind of suffers, and one kind of suffers from the other as he tries to wedge it in and make it work in ways that I don't think end up landing for me in this album. And it creates a bloated project with some so-so songs in between some of his traditional style music, which actually landed pretty well for me. And the end product came up to something that I thought was stuck between good to mediocre. So, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it's not for me, man. Like I think that if you're a Meek Mill fan and you have enjoyed all of his albums, I think that you'll probably enjoy this. But I don't think it's made for me. So I say that to say that I don't think it's bad, but I don't think that I'm the target audience for this album, and I feel like that's okay. I enjoyed the theme of the album in terms of the expensive pain and what comes with fame and being a famous person that is also dealing with the trauma of your past at the same time while also being a public figure. Well, with that said, I enjoyed the pain aspects of the album more than the expensive part. I thought the expensive part was just kind of derivative to me, but I thought the pain parts at least were somewhat interesting. But let's get into the track list. Let's get into the first segment of the album. How are you feeling about the first couple tracks?
It starts with intro, Hate on Me. Meek loves going in hard on these intro songs, whether it's on Championships, whether it's on, Dream Chasers, Dreams and Nightmares. He loves a good intro song. And I love the Hate Me Now sample. And I also enjoy the beat switch with the motorcycle sounds and the effects. It was a solid, for lack of a better word, introduction back to his 3-year hiatus between albums. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Then you move on to Outside, 100 miles per hour. I feel like it really rode off the momentum of that first song, and it felt like an extension. I love the bar, start balling like I was Joel, because I got them M's and B's on my wrist. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Little lyrical Miracle Whip. And then you move on to
Miracle.
On My
That's a good one.
Yeah, then you move on into On My Soul, and you start this, and this is the start of Meek incorporating that melodic rap that's a popular trend made popular by, guys like Roddy Ricch and Lil Baby and Lil Durk. That's really popular right now with the kids. And I'm realizing that this is going to be a trend in rap for some time. And I'm starting to make peace with that. I got guys who I like Baby Keem, who seem to be doing their thing with it. And so The song is solid. It's just that this sound is not really my favorite.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
understand that. I echo your sentiments on the intro. I think it's an interesting flip on the Nas track. Like you said, Meek always has hard intros, so I really enjoyed that. Outside is cool for me. I can take it or leave it, to be honest. The beat switch was cool. On My Soul, I did not like. I do like some aspects of melodic rap, but I think the other artists probably do it better. And I think he kind of falls into this place where he would probably be better served to have someone who's like a singer do some of these parts, and I just have him just, you know, where like operate where he's more comfortable in terms of just rapping. Because I think the auto tune thing is a little like it's a little hard on the ear sometimes, especially like if you're not used to an artist doing that. Like it's a little weird. Uh Sharing locations I thought was good. The beat on that is great. The hook is
Yeah.
but I think despite the hook being I think it's still the song comes out and the song is really hard overall. Expensive Pain, I thought that was dope. I really like that side of Meek and him talking about what he's been through in his whole life, and I thought that was a good like intro into who he is. Not intro into who he is, we know who he is, but a good look into his life and what he's been through. Uh, how are you feeling about like the middle portion of the album? Because that's kind of where we go into some of the more melodic aspects of it with Ride For You with Kalani.
There's one song that I really enjoyed in this middle portion. At least two. Me FWM featuring ASAP Ferg. I had so much fun with, because ASAP Ferg comes on this song and just demolishes the beat with his energy, with the B.I.B.I. Influence and sample coming from Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. And I love Meek because he has this knack for reinventing these old songs, and especially hip hop songs. And he has some success with it. Like, you know, you think about Trauma from Championships, or What's Free, or even Respect the Game. You know, those songs reference What's Beef and Dead Presidents respectively. And it was a lot of fun to like hear that. And he just brings that same type of energy here. And Ferg did so good on his feature that I think Meek had to like redo his outro. He's like, all right, I gotta
Come back in here.
Yeah, I gotta come back in here, you know, polish this up a little bit, because Ferg definitely took over. And then We Slide with Young Thug towards the latter half of this middle portion was a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed the piano keys and his melodic flow, I think actually complemented this song with a solid hook. But then getting back to the middle, Ride For You, it was kind of a by the numbers hip hop R&B song with featuring Kalani. And this, it's a sound that I'm familiar with, but it's a sound that's 15 years too old. And it's too simple for nowadays music. I feel like you got to be a little bit more experimental and try some different things than just, okay, I do the rap, you come in with the sweet music, and then I do some more rap and you do some more sweet hooks.
Yeah.
You know, then Hot, North Side, South Side, I wasn't really feeling. And that, yeah. How about you?
Yeah, same sentiments on Ride For You. I thought Me with ASAP Ferg was dope. I don't know why I just pictured like Michael Myers with a chain on for some reason with the piano. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Ferg is always good for a feature. I think he's like one of the more charismatic rappers, so he's always really, a lot of fun. Not much to say on Hot. Love Train again. Melodic Meek ain't really it. It's not for me. Don't really like North Side South Side. I thought We Slide was really interesting. It was interesting looking to the pain aspect of the album, talking about like the kind of cycle of grief and revenge that a lot of people deal with when they're living in areas that aren't so great. So it was cool. It was really cool verse from Young Thug as well. I feel like he put a lot into the song. He had one bar that kind of stuck out to me and kind of hit me, where he said, "Sometimes I show people love just so they won't kill me." So I thought that was really like a touching bar. It's not something that you really expect to hear from Young Thug, but I thought it was an interesting part of the track list. Uh, Moving on to Tweaking, I thought that was a track that didn't really fit, but that I liked because it was like a real boom back, like hip hop song, and I thought it was
Yeah.
a really good showcase of what Meek does best. You know, in terms of I think he does really well in terms of when he actually wants to buckle down and rap. I think he actually does a good job. So that was a good track on the album for me. What about that moving on to the last section of the album, the last few songs?
Yeah, I thought Tweaking, it was so-so for me. And I like the No Diggity sample, but I felt like it was underutilized. And
Mm.
you know, Meek he takes a lot of these samples from these older songs. Sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. And this was a song that was just right in the middle for me. Then you have Love Money. And the issue I have with Meek and his whole melodic experimentation is that a lot of it sounded like Lil Baby. And that really bothered me because I kept thinking like, man, Lil Baby's featured in like 3-4 songs on this project. And then I go into Rap Genius, I'm like, oh, it's just Meek. I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why. And I was starting to get sick of it at this point, to be honest. And then he comes out of nowhere with this banger in Blue Notes 2 with Lil Uzi Vert in spurts, which I think it is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Not
that
too
was
much
hard.
Lil
The
Uzi.
song was hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, Meek, like if you can give me some more of this, we might have a pretty good project on our hands. And I liked Angels, but there was a disconnect between his musicality on the song and the actual beat of the song. And I felt like it just wasn't, the flow was just slightly off. I feel like he was just singing and rapping on the song, but it wasn't cohesive and it didn't blend together as well as I would have hoped, because it seemed like a very touching moment for him, reflecting on his former artist that he had signed under him, and Lil Snoop, that was, you know, tragically killed. And so that kind of broke my heart a little bit because I felt like the song could have been better. And Cold Hearted 3 was dope. You know, he gets on a little backstory and he's reflecting again. Halo, I have so many feelings on Brent Faiyaz because I'm still trying to figure him out. I'm not sure if he can sing, but I still enjoy his presence on songs. And and I enjoy some of his songs, and then other of his songs I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Get somebody that can actually sing on this track. But the song is overall a so-so, but I enjoyed it as kind of the bookend to the album. And then Flamerz Flow was, you know, it felt unfinished, and it was a cool bonus track, but just didn't do it that well for me.
Yeah, I think I like this latter portion of the album more. I think it's probably my favorite segment of the album. Like we talked about, Blue Notes 2 is hard. I love that atmospheric guitar in the background, really passionate verse from Meek on the second half. Angels, I didn't really like it sonically, but I did enjoy the subject matter. I thought it was a good look into Meek and his, you know, his loss of his protege. Cold Hearted 3, I love how Meek really discussed how jealousy can ultimately lead to violence, because that's, you know, that's something that occurs a lot. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, you can keep Flamer's Flow. The beat was interesting, but it's kind of a forgettable track, which is why I think it's a bonus. I look at Halo as more of the closer, and I really liked Brent Faiyaz on the hook. I thought that was kind of a good example of bringing in a singer to do the hook and how it works so much better. Because could you imagine, like, if you would have did the Lil Baby thing on this track, like how much worse it would have come off? But because you have someone that's an R&B singer, like it works a lot better than just auto-tuning it. It's probably my favorite song on the album. But let's get into favorite tracks. Let's go for 4. I'll go Halo, We Slide, Me with ASAP Ferg, and I'll go with the intro.
All right, yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Sharing Locations, Me, We Slide, and Blue Notes 2. That's,
Okay.
you know, some of my favorite tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an uneven album for me. But let's get into recommendations. If you had to sit someone down and talk to them about the album and actually recommend whether or not they should listen to it on our personalized recommendation scale, what would you tell them?
Um, I say this with as much love and care as possible. You ain't missing much. I give it a 2 out of 5. And it's because I understand what artists are doing when they put out a project. I can't imagine how many hours they spend in the studio and all the heart and soul that they put into their lyrics. But at the end of the day, we do have to critique it and we do assess it as a form of art. This is just our opinion, but at the end of the day, he does some interesting stuff here, and I like his experimentation, but his execution was not great. And he had a dope album cover, but overall, you ain't missing much. There's some fun songs here, but if you miss out on it, yeah, it's not a big deal.
I'm gonna jump on the 2 bandwagon here and say, yeah, you're not missing much. I think if you're a general rap fan that's not necessarily a fan of Meek Mill, That's probably where I stand with it. If you are a fan of Meek Mill, then definitely give it a shot, because I think he's not really reinventing the wheel or changing too much as far as from his previous sound. He does experiment, like we talked about, with more melodic hooks and auto tune, but outside of that, it's kind of what you get from Meek Mill. But for me, it's just, I don't think you're really missing too much. I don't know if anyone is going to. I'm not going to revisit this necessarily. I don't think it's something that I will find myself going back to. So yeah, I would say it's just you're not missing much, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
I also echo your sentiments about, I always feel bad when we get bad reviews to things. But yeah, it's not for me, bro. It's not my cup of tea.
yeah. I mean, I can see a couple songs here going on the gym playlist.
Yeah, Meek is always good for that. Yeah, definitely. But I applaud his experimentation and his attempt at doing something new, even if it wasn't for me. But if you are a Meek fan, like I said, I think you'll enjoy it.